If you drive a vehicle in Minnesota, you need to be aware of new laws that will affect how you drive and what you should do when you are on the road. Joining me in the studio is the Vice Chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, Senator John Jasinski. Thanks for coming today.
You bet, Shannon. Glad to be here.
So starting this week, drivers will be required to use hands-free technology when they are behind the wheel. If you will, give us a 30-second public service announcement to inform drivers of this new law.
While you're driving your car, pay attention to the road. That's what you need to be doing. All the distractions, I think, are frustrating. We've looked at from the State Patrol and what the accident ratio are and what the common denominator is. We believe a lot of it is distraction, cell phone, or whatever it may be. I mean, what I can say to drivers is just focus on the driving in the road, and that's what you should be doing and not anything else. I know that's tough to do in these days, but that's really what we need to do. I was the tough one that was probably not very good at this before, but after listening to testimony, the stories, the State Patrol, the statistics, I really think we need to focus on driving and get the phones out of our hands while we're doing so.
And in the meantime, everybody that I know has been trying to figure out the Bluetooth technology in their car, and I have done it myself. It's much easier, actually, to not be picking up my phone, to just drive, and then I have one touch, and I'm talking to whoever I want to.
Yeah, and most people are kind of practicing. I know during the month of July, a lot of people are practicing before the August date comes up, and they're practicing how to get everything. And spend some time in your driveway and make sure you understand what you can do, what you can't do, how to do it. Saying, "Hey Siri, text this." And there's so many easy things you can do to make it hands-free. That's what I would promote people to do. And you're right. Today's technology with the cars are phenomenal. The sound, the echo has gone away, and there's just so many good things to do. So I think really is trying to focus on driving and not having something in your hand, I think will really help our traffic fatalities and accidents and just the minor fender benders.
Another new law that is going to become effective, you were chief author of the bill, now law that will require slower drivers to use the right lane. So what constitutes a slower driver, and how will this be enforced?
Well, the law is written as if you have somebody behind you and you have room to move over, you should move over. It states nothing about the speed or anything like that. It just says if you're in the left lane and someone is behind you, you should pull into the right lane to drive. So I don't think people out there, the drivers, should be patrolling traffic themselves. They should just, get over to the right lane, use the left lane for passing, and then when the lane has a space available, you get over to the right if someone is behind you. There are some exceptions if you're left turn lane or turning left or in a left off ramp or something like that, or emergency vehicle. But what I suggest, and I had Senator Dan Hall, was against the bill when the first time it came through, and he went down to Iowa one day and he says, "I'm just going to try and do that the way what you said." He says, "It makes it so much more, it's stress relief, or it's not stressful. You can just do your thing. If you have somebody behind you, pull over." It also makes people look in the rearview mirror more often, watching for emergency vehicles, things like that. The State Patrol will tell you it's safer to drive in the right lane, especially at night, because a lot of times people get on the off-ramp on the wrong direction, and those accidents happen in the left lane. So there's lots of reasons to get to the right. People are more used to the slower traffic to the right. When people pass in the right lane, that's not safe because it's kind of against the grain of traffic. So I think it's a common sense way to make traffic move more smoothly, and not so much in the 7-county area. That's a little bit more difficult. It's more for outstate Minnesota. It's obviously a rule or a law across the entire state, including the 7-county. But really, where I think the practical versions that will really take help with traffic is in the greater Minnesota areas. From Minneapolis up to St. Cloud, or from Forest Lake to Duluth, or from Minneapolis down to Albert Lee, things like that. Those are those areas where I think this happens. You've all been out there, and there's two people going side by side, and if one person would just move over, the traffic could come through. So I think it'll be a good law.
Yeah, it'll help traffic flow better. You were also chief author of legislation that will reimburse deputy registrars for the money that they lost during the Minnesota licensing and registration system,
Yes.
the problems that we had with that, and we'll get to what's next in just a moment. What are you hearing from those businesses, knowing that they're going to get some reimbursement now?
Overall, they're happy. They're taking the checks. The checks are actually going out during the month of July. My deputy registrar got hers on July 1st or July 2nd, I think it was, so they're getting those. There were a couple issues. One is it an income, so should it be taxable? We're trying to work through that. It's kind of a gray area, so they kind of relied on the Fed to see what they say, and they haven't really got a definite opinion. So we'll be working on that this session to clarify if that's a taxable event or not. I don't believe it is. I believe this is a compensation for things that were done wrong, not an income item. So I want to make sure that we work on that so it's not a tax-based thing, so you have to pay tax on that. There was some language on the when they took it, when they signed off, there was some language they wanted to have changed, and we've done that. And then finally, the calculation of the number of transactions, there was some discussion on that, how those calculations were done, if they were correct or not. So we're working through all those, and we'll continue, but from what I understand, 95% of the deputy registers are in favor of it, are taking the checks. We do have probably a couple that are not going to take them, think they've been harmed more than the dollar amounts that we offered, so they'll work through the other system, through the court system. But to my knowledge, 95% are very happy with the checks, and they're cashing them.
So because of the troubled rollout of MNLARS, a decision was made, big change, that Minnesota will move to a new title and registration system called VITRIS. The new system will be in place by fall of 2021, when MNLARS will be decommissioned then at that point. Are we being naive to think that this new system will be kind of a cure-all and fix all the problems that we suffered under MNLARS?
I think they are going to be corrected. We've put a lot of manpower out there to get the system transformed. I think we approved 110 people to get the conversion done, to make sure that's done. This software is shared by 11 other states, so anything in the future, the risk of that is diversified over 12 states. So if one state has something, they'll correct it in our state. So it just really takes that money and it spreads out our risk on that. So I think it'll continue. We have a lot of people to correct with that. The speeds are already speeding up in July. The speeds, to get your deputy or to get your license, or you get your license plate or your driver's license, are increasing now. They're getting much more efficient. So with those added people and the new software, I really do believe we'll see faster times. And at some point, even look at possibly printing driver's licenses in those deputy registers, even speed up the process further. Now, that's not law now, but with this system, that's something we'll be able to continue in the future and try and get to that point at some point.
So more innovations, more timeliness people can look forward to. The conditions of Minnesota roads are always a hot topic. Congestion, potholes, road construction, everybody, and I'm sure you hear it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
People have a lot to say about the roads and their commute times.
Absolutely.
Are policymakers doing enough to improve our roads? Are you satisfied with what is being done right now?
I think we're working towards it. It's always going to be a continual process. We in 2017 we put the tax on the auto part sales tax, lease vehicle and rental cars. That's generating about $450 million every 2 years, or 460, so $230 million per year, and that's only 52% we're capturing. So we could capture more. Roads and bridges obviously have been deteriorating, so we want to get as much money in as we can to get those roads in good shape so people can drive without potholes and those things. Bonding, we've been doing a lot of bonding in the past years on projects. Highway 14 got done, Highway 52, there's Highway 10, there's some other ones that got done as part of those projects. So we're continuing to invest in our infrastructure to make roads and bridges better in the state of Minnesota.
You've been traveling a bit, looking at transit systems elsewhere. Do you think the Twin Cities needs to have more investment in transit?
I'm in favor of buses. The rail, to me, I am a little bit concerned about. Our density in Minnesota is not that high. I just got back from Japan in June, and they have 11 million people in the size of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Our whole state is 5.5 million. So I think it's we do have some of it, and obviously to increase that and keep that going and maintain is important. But to stretch that out, given our density, I'm not so much in favor of. Not only that, with buses, what we can do with buses now, autonomous cars are coming. So I just think money can be better spent on other avenues to, again, in the autonomous vehicle and things like that. So,
Senator Jasinski, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.